Hello everybody, welcome back to Urban Soul Stories. Today I am seed starting from my indoor 4-tier Vego Garden and very excited. So stay tuned. I'm going to be letting you guys know what I'm doing. So for my seed start, since I'm doing it indoor, I don't want any fungus gnats. Fungus gnats eggs are usually found in peat moss based potting mix or seed starting mix, and I didn't want to sterilize my potting soil mix, so I went with Coco Coir instead. So basically it's the husk of a coconut. So I bought the Coco Coir. It comes in like a densely packed brick and you just have to water it to hydrate it. So I did that a few days ago and let that sit. So for my seed starter mix, all I did was 2 part Coco Coir, 1 part perlite. So I have my Coco Coir in a little box and I mixed everything up in a smaller container. That way it's easier for me to access and I'm not mixing the entire Coco Coir for seed start, especially when I'm only doing one tray of 16 squares. And yeah, that's it. If you find it helpful, like, comment, share. Let me know in the comments what you guys are seed starting this month in January. Let me know in the comments what you'll be growing this upcoming gardening season. For the spring, if you have not checked out the video before, I showed you some of my new seeds that I'll be starting for the spring, and some of them I'll be starting now for my indoor garden, and in a few weeks I'll be starting from my spring season. And I hope you enjoy. If not, I hope you find it helpful. Okay, so first I'm gonna start with my tiny Tim. I'm gonna be going across this way. So on my seed starting tray, it has labels. So we have from here down the middle, we go from A to D, and across this way, it's 1 to 4. So I made a little grid so I can stick it next to it, just like this. So as I'm seed starting, I'm going to notate what's in each square. So again, we go from A to C going down and across, just like my seed starting tray. It's 1 to 4. That way I'll know when I don't have to stick anything inside. And this way you can just stick it right next to it and it'll be easy to remember. And so for my seed starting mix, I have 2 part Coco Coir and 1 part perlite with the Tiny Tims. So I do want 2, so I'm gonna give I'm going to give 2, and that way I can thin them out later on to see which one is stronger. My little marker here, just a little tiny little hole in there with my Tiny Tim. See a Tiny Tim? So I'm one, then I have a second one. So just in case, if there's any germination error, there's a 1 in 2 chance that I'll get something. Just gonna cover it up. So I put that in 3 and 4. So I'm just gonna put TT for Tiny Tim. A little marker. So just like that. So I have those 2 right there. And then next, I have the orange hat. I'm gonna do 2 in each hole as well. So I have, they're very tiny. You can see 2. So we're gonna put it in here. And then same for over here. So what you can do is if they both germinate, you can separate them and then save them and just transplant them somewhere else, or you can cut off the strongest one and go from there. So I'll water afterwards. I'm just gonna go through the whole thing, but first I'm gonna do OH for orange hat. Just like this. So I have OH for orange hat tomato, TT for Tiny Tim tomato. And then I also wanted to do 1 miniature red bell pepper. This is all for indoor and it's very small. So I'm going to do 2 here. And then I'm gonna put a cucumber right here as well. So these are newly purchased seeds. Usually if it's something older, I would probably do more, but since they're new, I'm sure that both of them would germinate, but you never know, and I don't want to waste time, so I'm putting 2 just in case. Just gonna cover that. So I put it, bell pepper. So this will be row B, and you have 1 right here. So B1, B1. After that, I'm gonna do the Be Alpha cucumber. This is the parthenocarpic one. So even if you grow it indoors, it will be okay because it's male and female, so there's no need for pollination. So pollination is not necessary for this kind. So it will be fine just by itself. And this is just an experiment to see if I can really grow this indoor on my Vego 4-tier garden. So let's see what happens with that. And then cucumber seeds are a lot bigger. Oh, they're huge. So it's gonna need a little bigger hole than this one. I'm just gonna cover it back up. So, but for cucumber, they do want it to be 1 inch deep. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just cover a little bit more. Cucumber right here. Made a little oopsie. I do have a garden journal I use just to bring a sketch of what I would want. So this way I know how many to seed start, and that way I can know how much seeds I can put into each square since I only have 16 squares. So for some of them, especially like the leafy greens, I'll do like 4 in each. That way I can separate them at a later time. But this is just an idea of what I'm going to be doing. So for my arugula, I need about 4. So I'm just gonna put 4 arugula in one here. And the seeds are very small. So with arugula, you don't necessarily need to seed start. They do well just planting them in the ground, but I wanted to seed start everything. And at least for these, I'll just do 1 each. That way, if nothing germinates, then I can always do a succession sowing. 4 might be an overkill, but I can always thin them out later. So let's see what happens there. So as I'm going, I'm gonna be writing in my sticky note, just so I know what I'm growing where, just like this. And I'm gonna be doing dandelion. So with dandelion, I only want 1, so I'm just gonna put 2. This might be a little overkill, but I'd rather do it as I go so I don't forget. Or you can always add little markers to put them inside the square, but I just want it to be clean. So I'm just gonna put the sticky note right next to it. Or you can draw on a piece of paper and draw the outline that way. Okay, so next are my spinaches. For spinach, they always tell you, well, I've seen somewhere where to make spinach germinate quicker, you can soak them, but I'm just gonna go ahead and go for it. So I'm gonna be doing these 2. So I have butterfly spinach and I have the Bloomsdale long-standing spinach. A slight difference. So I'm gonna be doing both of these, and I do want quite a lot. So for spinach, I need about 4 to 5 each. So I'm gonna be putting 2. It's gonna be a lot of spinach. It's gonna be a lot. So we have actually 5 here. I'm gonna do 4, and this is the Bloomsdale long-standing spinach. 1 here, 1 there. Just gonna sprinkle a little bit on there. So what I did was I put Bloomsdale times 2, BD for Bloomsdale times 2. Then you have Butterfly times 2, and then BF times 2. Just a smaller abbreviation, just so I'll know what's what. So the Butterfly time, 2 in each as well. The seeds look roughly about the same. So I had some going this way. So I'm gonna keep that same pattern going. And then now I have my spinaches, I have all my fruiting things, and then this part here I'm gonna be dedicating to my leafy greens, which again you don't need to seed start, but it gives a cleaner look when I seed start everything versus sprinkling everything inside. So for the last row, I'm gonna be using these. So we have, start with the black seeded Simpson. Just gonna sprinkle some on here because they're loose leaf lettuce. So it's a lot easier to kind of densely pack them. So this is the leaf variety. So this way I can do cut and come again and I can densely pack them. So just gonna sprinkle some on top and then separate them at a later time. So let's see how much germinate. And again, I can always succession sow. Well, I'm going to need to succession sow sooner or later. So I have that. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit on top. BSS, so black seeded Simpson, I put about 8 because I think that's how much went in there. And then next, I'm gonna do my ruby red leaf. I just realized I have ruby red leaf and I have ruby red romaine. So I'm actually gonna hold off on this for a little bit, but I'm gonna definitely do this one next. And so this one I have about 6 seeds. The good part about this one, it's the seeds are wider, so it's should be easier to see. But let's see. The other ones were dark, so it's kind of hard to see with the Coco Coir being such a dark color as well. But then just a little covering. Nothing too crazy. Kind of pat it in there just so the seeds won't move. And the good part about this, I had hydrated the Coco Coir, so it has a little bit moist. So it's easier for the seeds to stick versus it being dry and then could just float away down below when I water it. So next I'm going to do Marvel of 4 season. So basically you can grow it any season. It's great. So I'm gonna do that. And also wanted to do some things that will give me a little bit of a color, not just everything being green, which nothing is wrong with that, but also it's nice to have a little color. So I just put, I forgot up the note, so ruby red leaf, and I put about 6. And so Marvel of 4 season is next. So for the Marvel of 4 season, their seeds are actually a darker color. So got about this much. So what I'm trying to prevent is chaos gardening, but sometimes I just can't escape it because I always want to see so much. But this is why I rather the loose leaf versus like the butter head or the bib head, like the head lettuce, because then those you need space for the head. Versus loose leaf, they're densely, you can densely pack those so that way it can be easily cut and come again, and you maximize on space. So I'm just putting a little, it's kind of hard. So I got that done. Just patting it in there a little bit. So I have my 4 seasons about times 6. So it should look like this so far, almost done. So I'm actually gonna do mustard Mizuna. So the mustard Mizuna only needed 2, but I'm gonna do 4 just in case. So the seeds are very tiny. They look small, similar to the arugula. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's put a little bit more just in case. And so we have Mizuna times 4. So I'm done with all of the seed sowing. So next I'm going to water everything. So what I did, I took a thumbtack and poke holes in top of the cap of the water bottle. And that way when I sprinkle it, it's going to be lightly misting over it. So that way the seeds won't sink deeper and float somewhere else. Once they germinate, then I'll bottom water because this comes with a tray to bottom water. So the good thing about this, I got it from Burpee. Yeah, Burpee. Off Amazon. I can put a link in the bio. So with this, I can bottom water. Makes it a lot easier to wake up the water and to minimize any algae growth. So as you can see, it just lightly mists through everything. I'm just gonna do this every day until I start seeing germination. Okay, so now that I seeded everything I need to, I'm going to show you how I'm setting up the Vego garden just for seeding. Because for the Vego Garden, it has on the lights, it has modes for leaf, for seeds, for fruits, and for microgreens. So I'm just going to show you how I go about setting it up. This is my seed starting tray. It's has a few inches of space, but it fits perfectly. It fits great. And I bought a fan. That way it can mimic the wind from outside and the seedlings won't get leggy. So it's very important to have a fan when you're doing indoor, or else you're going to get leggy seedlings, and you don't want it to get leggy, and the wind is going to help the stems get sturdy just from it blowing it back and forth. But for the Vego, okay, so you can see the different light mode it has. So it has seedling, leaf, fruits, herbs, and microgreen. So all I have to do, turn on the power, and it's already on seeds. If you want to change it, all I do is just tap it and it will change accordingly. But I want it on seeds. So, and it's a magnetic strip. There's a magnet on top. Oops, I accidentally changed it. So that's how it looks. And that way it will be there. And so here it is under the light. And for the seeds, it stays on for 16 hours. And then it will be off for 8 hours. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like, comment, and share, and subscribe to for more content and for updates. So stay tuned to see how long it takes for them to germinate.